The apex predator cub's threat display triggered every alarm in the xenobiology wing. But the human janitor just said, "Oh, somebody's cranky," and kept mopping. "Emma, get out of there!" Kael'thas's voice cracked through the intercom, his 3 vocal cords vibrating in pure panic. "That's a Zixarian cub. Do you understand what that means?" Emma Johnson paused mid-swipe, looking up at the security camera with mild confusion. "The fuzzy thing with all the teeth? Yeah, I can see him. He's pretty cute, actually." "Cute?" Vexia's roar cut through every speaker in the station. "That species is responsible for the extinction of 47 civilizations. Its threat pheromones should have you paralyzed in terror right now." Emma shrugged and dunked her mop back in the bucket. "I mean, he does look kinda upset. But I'm almost done with this section and—" "Section?" Kael'thas was openly hyperventilating now, his breathing apparatus fogging up as he watched the security feed. 3 of my trained handlers are currently catatonic in the hallway. The cub's bio readings indicate it's preparing for a fatal attack. You need to evacuate immediately. The cub, about the size of an earth lion but built like a nightmare that evolution had spent millions of years perfecting, lowered itself into a hunting crouch. Its 6 eyes narrowed to slits, dorsal spikes extending to their full, terrifying height. The growl that emanated from its throat should have triggered every primal fear response in Emma's mammalian brain. Emma glanced at it, then back at the camera. "Okay, but, he's not actually attacking, though?" "He's just making noise." Making noise? Vexia was now frantically typing override codes. "Security Teams Alpha through Delta, converge on xenobiology immediately. Prepare lethal countermeasures. We have a code extinction event in progress." "Station Commander online." A new voice cut through the chaos. "What's the human status?" "She's still mopping," Kael'thas shrieked. Through the security feed, they watched in horror as the cub began stalking toward Emma, each step calculated, predatory. Its claws, each one capable of shearing through starship hull plating, extended fully. The threat display intensified, pheromones flooding the air at concentrations that should have been lethal to any carbon-based life form within 30 meters. Emma wrung out her mop and started on a particularly stubborn stain near the wall. "Human Emma Johnson." Vexia's voice had gone deadly calm in the way security chiefs sound right before everything goes catastrophically wrong. "I need you to listen very carefully. Do not make eye contact with the creature. Do not make any sudden movements. We're deploying emergency containment fields and—" "The containment fields aren't activating," a technician's panicked voice interrupted. "There's some kind of interference. It's like the system doesn't recognize there's a threat present." "Doesn't recognize—" Kael'thas's voice hit a pitch that shouldn't have been anatomically possible. "It's a Zixarian cub. The system is literally designed to recognize Zixarian threats as maximum priority." The cub was now less than 5 meters from Emma, its muscles coiled, preparing to spring. Every biological sensor in the xenobiology wing was screaming alerts. The probability algorithms had all maxed out at 100% certainty of imminent fatality. Emma finally looked directly at the cub. "Oh, hey there, buddy," she said cheerfully, like she was greeting a neighbor's dog. "You're pretty far from your enclosure, huh?" The cub's growl intensified, its entire body vibrating with predatory intent. And Emma Johnson, human janitor, employee ID B3847, who had survived exactly 0 previous encounters with galaxy-ending apex predators, set down her mop and started walking toward it. "Emma, no!" The collective scream from the command center probably registered on seismic sensors 3 decks away. "Human, if you take one more step..." Vexia was already pulling up the emergency protocols for retrieving human remains. Emma took 3 more steps, then crouched down to the Cub's level. "Somebody's having a bad day, aren't they?" She cooed at the creature that had literally evolved to be the universe's most efficient killing machine. The Cub's 6 eyes widened slightly. Its growl stuttered, confused. "That's impossible," Kael'thas whispered, his face pressed against the security monitor. "The pheromones alone. She should be dead. She should be dead just from proximity." Emma reached out her hand, toward the apex predator, toward its teeth. "Emma, please." Vexia's voice had shifted from commanding to begging. "Please don't do what I think you're about to do." "What's she doing?" the station commander demanded. Kael'thas couldn't speak, could only watch as the human extended her fingers toward the Cub's snout while making soft, repetitive sounds that his translator couldn't even classify. Did the human just make a PSPSPS noise at the Zixarian Cub? A technician asked, voice hollow with disbelief. The Cub's threat display wavered. Its spikes lowered slightly. The growl became uncertain, and Emma Johnson smiled at it like it was the most natural thing in the galaxy. "Who's a fierce little guy? You are. Yes, you are." Emma's baby-talk voice echoed through speakers across 3 decks. And somewhere in the command center, Kael'thas made a sound like a deflating balloon. The Cub tilted its massive head, confusion rippling across its 6 eyes. Its dorsal spikes retracted another centimeter. "Fire tranquilizers," Vexia screamed into her comm. "Authorization code Omega-7. Shoot the Cub before it—" 3 sedative darts whistled through the air ventilation gaps, programmed for precision strikes. Each one contained enough tranquilizer to drop a full-grown thoraxian battle beast. All 3 bounced off the Cub's natural armor plating with pathetic plink sounds and clattered to the floor. The Cub didn't even glance at them. Its attention was completely fixed on Emma, who was now making kissy noises. "Okay, sonic deterrence." Vexia was scrolling through protocols so fast her claws were smoking. "Frequency 773. That's specifically calibrated for Zixarian neural structures." The high-pitched sound flooded the xenobiology wing. A noise designed by the galaxy's top acoustic weapons specialists, specifically to cause debilitating pain to Zixarian sensory organs. Emma winced. "Ow, geez, that's annoying." The Cub yawned. "It yawned!" A technician shrieked. The apex predator just yawned during a sonic assault. Pheromone suppressors. Kael'thas was pulling up research files with all 4 hands, while simultaneously trying to maintain contact with the Council of Predator Research. "Flood the entire wing. Override every safety protocol. I don't care if it violates 700 regulations." Chemical suppressors hissed from every vent, filling the air with compounds that should have neutralized the Cub's threat pheromones and calmed its predatory instincts. The Cub sneezed adorably. Emma reached into her janitor's cart and pulled out a small plastic container. "You hungry, sweetie? I've got some leftover chicken from lunch." Did she just offer food to... Vexia couldn't finish the sentence. She was too busy mobilizing Combat Response Team Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. "I want full tactical armor, plasma rifles, and someone get me a direct line to the Zixarian homeworld right now." "Ma'am, the containment fields still aren't..." the technician began. "I know the containment fields aren't working." Vexia slammed her fist on the console. "They won't activate within 50 meters of the human. It's like the system thinks there's no threat present." "Because there might not be," Emma called out cheerfully, apparently able to hear the increasingly panicked command center discussion. She opened the plastic container, and the scent of cooked poultry wafted through the wing. The cub's nostrils flared. Its growl shifted to something that sounded almost curious. No, 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 no. Kyle Thas was watching biological readouts that made absolutely no sense. The cub's cortisol levels are dropping. Its adrenaline is normalizing. This violates every principle of Zixarian behavioral psychology. Council of Predator Research is online, a communications officer announced. Senior researchers Zara and Jotaro are inbound via emergency transport. ETA 4 minutes. We might not have 4 minutes. Vexia zoomed in on the security feed, watching as Emma held out a piece of chicken to the cub. Human, step away from the... The cub took the chicken from Emma's hand with shocking gentleness, its razor-sharp teeth somehow managing not to take her fingers off in the process. It ate the chicken, then looked at Emma expectantly for more. "Oh my gods," Kael'thas whispered. It's exhibiting juvenile food solicitation behavior toward the human. That's impossible. Zixarian cubs only show that behavior toward their bonded parents after months of, "Here you go, buddy." Emma fed the cub another piece of chicken, scratching behind one of its dorsal spikes. "Yeah, you were just hungry, weren't you? All that growling and posturing, and you just wanted a snack." The cub's spikes retracted completely. It leaned into the scratching. It was purring. The sound that emerged from the apex predator wasn't the bone-vibrating growl of imminent death. It was a rumbling, contented purr that sounded disturbingly similar to satisfaction. Emergency broadcast to Zixarian Diplomatic Corp. Vexia was now standing on her chair, all her fur standing on end. "We have a Code Crimson situation. Human in direct contact with..." "Vexia, you're going to give yourself a heart attack." Emma laughed, still scratching the cub, which had now rolled onto its back to expose its heavily armored belly. "He's fine. Look at him. He's just a baby." "Just a baby?" Kael'thas's voice cracked across 3 octaves. "That baby will grow up to hunt starships for sport. Its species considers planetary bombardment a form of recreational activity." Emma looked up at the camera, holding the purring apex predator cub like it was a particularly large house cat. "Yeah, but right now he's like, what, maybe 6 months old? 7? He's scared and hungry and probably missing his parents." The cub nuzzled against Emma's shoulder. 3 trained xenobiologists fainted in the command center. "Senior researchers arriving," someone announced weakly. "Good," Vexia said, her voice hollow. "Maybe they can explain what in the name of the eternal void we're witnessing." Emma fed the cub another piece of chicken. "Such a good boy." "Yes, you are. Who's a good interdimensional killing machine?" "You are." The cub's tail wagged. Zixarians didn't have tails. Until this moment, no one had ever seen a Zixarian cub happy enough to manifest one. Senior researchers Zara and Jotaro burst through the xenobiology wing doors, wearing full Class X protective suits, the kind designed to withstand direct nuclear detonation. Behind them, a third researcher, Xylar, was lugging enough scanning equipment to outfit a small research vessel. They stopped dead at the threshold. Emma was sitting cross-legged on the floor, the Zixarian cub curled up in her lap like an oversized, spike-covered puppy. She was humming something while stroking its head. "That's..." Zara's voice box struggled to form words through her helmet. "That's not possible. I've got 10,000 years of Zixarian behavioral research pulled up," Kael'thas said through their earpieces, his voice frayed at the edges. "Every single documented interaction, every approach to Zixarian aggression, every known method of..." "Does any of it mention cuddling?" Jotaro interrupted, staring. No. Kael'thas practically sobbed. The closest thing we have is a report from 3,000 years ago, where a Zixarian adult merely ignored a diplomatic envoy instead of eating them. And we considered that a breakthrough in interspecies relations. Zelar deployed a bioscanner, his hands shaking so badly he nearly dropped it. The cub's neural patterns, they're showing attachment responses, bonding hormones, and they're directed at the human. Zara finished, her voice hollow. Yes, we can all see that. Emma looked up and waved. Oh, hey, you must be the experts everyone keeps yelling about. Don't worry, he's totally chill now. Chill? Jataro's protective suit nearly exploded from his indignation. That creature's species has a documented aggression index of 10,000. There is no chill in their behavioral repertoire. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty worked up earlier. Emma agreed, gently scratching under the cub's chin. The cub stretched languidly, claws flexing in contentment. But he was just scared and trying to look tough, you know. Classic fear aggression. Fear. Aggression? Kael'thas repeated slowly, like the words were in a language his translator couldn't process. Sure. Emma shrugged. See? There's a difference between scared aggressive and hunting aggressive. Scared aggressive is all display, lots of noise, trying to make themselves look bigger. But their body language is defensive. Hunting aggressive is quiet, focused, calculated. This little guy? She booped the cub's nose. It sneezed. Total scaredy cat. Scaredy cat, Zara repeated flatly. Yeah, like my sister's German Shepherd puppy. Big, loud, acts all tough. But the second you show him you're not a threat and maybe have some food, total sweetheart. German. Shepherd puppy. Jataro was accessing the human database, his eyes widening with each search result. This is a domesticated Earth predator? You let these live in your homes with your offspring? Emma laughed. Well, yeah. Dogs are family. Emergency transmission from Zixarian homeworld. Vexia's voice cut through the stunned silence. The cub's parents are demanding immediate human removal from their child. They're threatening to... She paused. Wait, they're saying what now? Through the speakers, a deep, resonating voice spoke in the grinding consonants of the Zixarian language. The translator struggled with the emotional context before settling on, remove the predator-spawn thief from our progeny immediately. We will reclaim our cub before it becomes corrupted by mammalian weakness. Emma glanced at the cub, who was now making soft, chirping sounds in its sleep. I think they're a bit late for that. The parents are inbound, Vexia reported, voice tight. ETA 90 seconds. They're not requesting docking clearance. They're demanding it. Zilar's scanner beeped frantically. The cub's entering REM sleep. Deep sleep. The kind of sleep that requires... He looked at his colleagues in horror. The kind of sleep that requires a Zixarian cub to feel completely, utterly safe. But they never feel safe, Zara whispered. Their entire evolutionary psychology is built on perpetual threat assessment. They sleep in 30-second intervals for the first 5 years of life. The research is conclusive. Zixarian cubs can't achieve deep sleep states except in the presence of both biological parents simultaneously. The cub snored, a tiny, rumbling snore, in Emma's arms. All of it, Kael'thas said distantly, watching 10,000 years of predator research collapse in real time on his screens. Every model, every behavioral prediction algorithm, every threat assessment protocol, they're all wrong. Not wrong, Jotaro corrected, his scientific mind still trying to salvage something from the wreckage. Incomplete. We've been studying Zixarians as isolated predators, not as social creatures, Emma offered helpfully. Yeah, most predators are social to some degree. They're just really good at hiding it, because showing vulnerability gets you killed in the wild. The xenobiology wing doors exploded inward, not from force, but from two adult Zixarians who had apparently decided doors were optional. They were massive, easily 4 times the size of their cub, covered in battle scars that told stories of planetary conquests. They took one look at Emma holding their sleeping child and froze. Hi, Emma said, not moving from her spot on the floor. I'm guessing you're the parents. Your kid's fine. He just needed some food and a nap. The male Zixarian's 6 eyes focused on Emma with the kind of intensity usually reserved for targeting systems. His mate moved to flank, both of them exhibiting textbook hunting pack behavior. The cub yawned, stretched, and burrowed deeper into Emma's arms without waking. Both parents' threat displays stuttered in confusion. "What have you done to our spawn?" the father roared, though his spikes were retracting slightly in bewilderment. Emma looked down at the sleeping cub, then back up at the parents. Honestly, just treated him like what he is, a scared kid who got lost and needed some comfort. The mother made a sound like grinding tectonic plates. Our offspring does not require comfort. It requires combat preparation and survival conditioning. The cub chose that moment to emit another adorable snore and snuggle closer to Emma. Every scientific instrument in the room flatlined simultaneously. "Look," Emma said, shifting carefully so as not to wake the cub. "I don't know what your parenting philosophy is, and I'm not judging. But this little guy wasn't acting like a hardened warrior. He was acting like a baby who got separated from his family and panicked. The Zixarian mother's spikes rippled with something that might have been offense. You dare suggest we cannot recognize our own offspring's behavioral states? I'm suggesting maybe you've never seen him act like this because he's never felt safe enough to show you this side," Emma said gently. "Predators, especially young ones, they hide vulnerability. It's survival instinct. But mammals? We have these bonding instincts that override the fear response. We can recognize when another creature needs comfort instead of combat training." Bonding? Instincts? The father tilted his massive head. "You possess biological imperatives toward creatures not of your species?" "Well, yeah," Emma smiled. "Humans have been doing this for like 40,000 years. We took wolves, apex predators that hunted in packs, and over generations, we turned them into dogs. Partners, family members. We did the same with cats, horses, falcons, even bears in some cases." Kael'thas was frantically pulling up human database entries, his voice shaking as he read aloud to the assembled researchers. "Canis lupus familiaris. Felis catus. They live in human dwellings, sleep in their beds, guard their young. This can't be." He scrolled faster. "There are over 340 recognized dog breeds. Humans deliberately cultivated variety in their domesticated predators. And cats," Zara added, her voice faint. "Small ambush predators. Humans keep them as companions, for emotional support. Horses, prey animals large enough to kill humans with a single kick. Humans convince them to carry riders into battle," Jotaro read, his hands trembling. "Falcons, aerial predators with talons designed to pierce skulls. Humans train them to hunt cooperatively and return the kills." Zilar looked up from his scanner, his face pale. They don't just coexist with predators. They actively seek them out. They form emotional bonds across species barriers that shouldn't be possible. The Zixarian father approached slowly, his earlier aggression replaced with something closer to confusion. You befriended species that could kill you? I mean, technically this little dude could probably kill me too, Emma said, gesturing at the cub still snoring in her lap. But he doesn't want to. He just wanted someone to understand that the growling and posturing was fear, not actual aggression. Right, buddy? She gently stroked his dorsal ridge. The cub made a soft, content chirping sound without waking. The mother moved closer, her 6 eyes studying Emma with new intensity. What magic is this? What power allows you to pacify a Zixarian warrior spawn? Emma laughed. It's not magic, it's just paying attention, reading body language, recognizing emotional states, responding with empathy instead of fear. Your kid was scared, hungry, and overwhelmed. So I gave him food, spoke softly, and didn't treat him like a threat. That's it. That's it. The father sounded almost disappointed. Pretty much. Emma shrugged. I mean, there's more nuance to animal behavior and cross-species communication. But the basics are: respect their space, recognize their needs. Don't respond to fear with more fear. Works on most creatures. The parents looked at each other, some silent communication passing between them. Then the mother, slowly, carefully, approached Emma and lowered herself to the floor. May I? She paused, her voice uncertain in a way that probably no one had ever heard from a Zixarian. May I hold my offspring, the way you do? Emma's face softened. Of course. Here, let me show you how to support his head. Vexia's voice came through the speakers, quiet with disbelief. Security teams, stand down. I repeat, stand down. The situation is... She struggled for words. The situation is resolved. The station commander's voice followed, equally stunned. I need a full report on what just happened here. Because according to every sensor, we just witnessed a human teaching apex predators how to cuddle their own young. Emma helped transfer the still sleeping cub to his mother's arms, adjusting the position until the cub settled comfortably. The mother stared down at her child, seeing him peaceful and content in a way she'd apparently never witnessed before. He's so small like this, she whispered. Yeah, Emma said softly. They all are when they finally feel safe enough to just be kids. The father placed a massive claw on his mate's shoulder. Both parents gazing at their cub with something that looked remarkably like wonder. Kael'thas collapsed into his chair. I need to rewrite every paper I've ever published. The emergency council meeting convened within the hour, representatives from 47 species appearing via holographic projection in the station's main conference room. The header on every screen read, Human-Predator Affinity, Threat Assessment and Protocol Revision. Kael'thas stood before them, his presentation notes abandoned after the first slide. Honored council members, everything we thought we knew about predator behavioral management is fundamentally incomplete. I'm proposing a complete overhaul of xenobiology protocols to incorporate what humans call cross-species empathy. You're suggesting we consult humans on wildlife management? A counselor challenged. The species that arrived in the galactic community less than a decade ago. I'm suggesting, Kael'thas said carefully, that the species who turned wolves into dogs 40,000 years ago might know something about predator psychology that we've missed in our tens of thousands of years of research. Zara stepped forward. I'm formally requesting human consultants be assigned to every wildlife conservation station in the network. Not as guards or handlers, but as behavioral specialists. In the xenobiology wing, Emma was giving the Zixarian parents a list of recommendations she'd scribbled on the back of a cleaning checklist. "So, make sure he gets plenty of enrichment time," she said, pointing at her notes. "You know, activities that engage his problem-solving skills. Maybe hide food around the environment, give him puzzles to work through. And socialization, he should spend time with other cubs his age when possible." The father studied the list with intense concentration. Socialization, like pack training? Kind of, but less training and more playing with friends. He needs to learn normal cub behaviors, not just warrior protocols. Emma grinned. Honestly, it sounds like he could use some puppy classes. Puppy classes? The mother looked confused. Sorry, Earth reference. Just means structured socialization with peers. It helps with confidence and emotional regulation. Emma scratched the now awake cub under his chin. He leaned into it, purring. And hey, if you guys ever need a break or want a second opinion on his behavior, I'm usually on the evening shift. I can cub sit. Both parents stared at her. You would voluntarily spend time with our offspring? The father asked slowly. Sure, he's a sweetheart. Emma ruffled the cub's head spikes. Aren't you, buddy? The cub chirped and tried to climb back into her arms. In the conference room, the station commander was addressing the council. What we witnessed today wasn't just unprecedented. It was paradigm shifting. This human didn't just neutralize a threat. She created a bridge between species that have never successfully communicated before. She demonstrated that humans might possess a universal caretaking instinct we've never encountered. We need to reclassify humans in our threat database, a military counselor announced. Current classification: dangerous predator species, approach with caution. Proposed amendment: universal caretakers, capable of forming bonds with any species regardless of mutual predatory status. Kailtas was already typing furiously on his data pad. I'm writing a paper, The Predator Domestication Instinct, How Homo sapiens Rewrites the Rules of Interspecies Relations. This is going to change everything. The Zixarian Diplomatic Corps representative appeared on screen. The Zixarian Collective formally requests a cultural exchange program with Earth. We wish to learn about these dogs and understand how humans achieved what we consider impossible. Emma, oblivious to the galaxy reshaping discussions happening 3 decks away, handed the cub back to his parents and picked up her mop and bucket. Anyway, I've still got 3 more floors to finish before my shift ends, she said cheerfully. You folks take care, okay? And remember, if he starts acting out, check if he's hungry or tired first. Solves like 90% of behavioral issues. She started pushing her cart toward the door, humming an old Earth tune about friendship. The cub watched her go, his 6 eyes tracking her movement with obvious attachment. He made a small, plaintive chirp. Yes, small one, his mother said softly, still holding him the way Emma had shown her. We will see the human again. Emma waved without turning around. See you later, little dude. The xenobiology wing doors closed behind her, leaving the Zixarian family, 3 senior researchers still in protective gear, and about a dozen shattered scientific paradigms in her wake. In the security office, Vexia and Kailtas stood side by side, watching Emma's progress on the security feed as she moved to the next floor, mopping like nothing universe-altering had just occurred. We need humans on every station, Vexia said quietly. Kyle nodded, still looking shell-shocked. We need them everywhere. On the monitor, Emma paused her mopping to wave at a passing technician, made a joke that got them laughing, then went back to work. Just another day. Just another human. Just another impossibility that Earth had decided was perfectly normal. The galaxy, meanwhile, scrambled to catch up.